Well, all parents have been there. Your teen missed curfew or your toddler throws an epic tantrum like at an airport or something like that, a restaurant. You lose your cool. Many of them beat themselves up, the parents do, and later thinking they're failing at their most important job. But no one is perfect, and today we're talking about the topic, how to let perfectionism in parenthood for your sake and for others, just let it go. So it's the topic of this week's Mom Enough podcast with developmental psychologist Dr. Marty Erickson. It's such a good topic. I mean, we're all trying to do our best. And we think that obviously the bar needs to be here, but sometimes you have to just decide what the child needs, and that's why you decided to do it, right?
Yes, and you know, we impose perfectionism on ourselves and on our children, and they're really learning from us all the time. And yet, if you're perfectionistic, where when something goes wrong, when you do something poorly, or your child does, you go to all or nothing thinking. So for example, you're saying, I'm a terrible mother because you blew up at your child when they had a tantrum. Or your child gets a bad score on a test and you say, oh, he's never going to get into a good college. And that all or nothing thinking is what really characterizes perfectionism as opposed to just striving for excellence. It's good to strive to be good at things and, you know, to have a successful life. But especially social media, I think really contributes to it for us parents. We've talked a lot about how that affects kids, but it really affects moms particularly, I think. And so we set just crazy high standards for ourselves.
Yeah, because what we're seeing is just completely false anyway. None of it's
exactly.
really real, and we're just thinking that it is, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, why am I not doing those 14 things every single day?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, so your first tip is take off the label and put it away.
Right, and so when you hear yourself, you know, just be mindful that you're doing that. And when you hear yourself attributing something, you know, all or nothing to yourself or to your child, just stop and think. And so, for example, I really didn't handle that well is very different than I'm a terrible mother. And so just how you change your thinking is the first step, and even say it out loud, because then your children learn from how you're calming that tendency to be perfectionistic.
Yeah, and like if something happens to you during the day and it doesn't go well for you, you should really just bring it up. Say, hey, this really didn't work well for me today. Show that you have flaws yourself, because then your kids are like, oh yeah, I had a problem today too, and maybe
Absolutely.
they'll be more willing to chat about their issues if they're worried about how you're going to react.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Reframe the mistake or failure as data. I like this.
Yeah, and you know, I think that we always need to be kind of reflecting on things we do, because that's how we grow. So just say, what could I have done differently? Or, you know, what can I do the next time that situation happens? And engage your children in doing the same thing. So your child gets a terrible score on an important test. You know, sit down with them and say, that must be really disappointing to you.
Yeah,
you
how
know,
do you feel about that?
Let's talk about what you can do next time you have that opportunity, and what do you need from me to support you. So it's just being thinking about opportunities for growth rather than measuring yourself by some unrealistic standard.
And then if there's siblings involved and one is quite good at something, you have to remember that they're individual people and they have their own, you know, traits and weaknesses and strengths.
Absolutely.
And really balance, or putting them up against each other is really a bad thing too.
Right, and you know, helping children find their own talents, the things they're good at, is so important, and that starts very early in life, and just realizing that people do all have different strengths and different challenges.
Right, so setting a good example, as we mentioned.
Right.
And letting know, yeah.
And even intentionally as a family, I like to suggest that people in a family do things that none of them are very good at, you know, try something new. I mean, I remember trying frisbee golf or disc golf with some of my grandkids. And I mean, I've never done anything so badly in my life. I was just an idiot out there, and I quit after about 5 holes, and I just went and sat on a bench and read a book until they all finished, you know. But that's really good for kids to see grown-ups doing that, and also to realize that, you know, you can have a lot of fun even with things that you don't do very well. I played golf yesterday, and I am no golfer, believe me, but I just love it. And I get out there and I hack and have fun with my women friends who take it lightly like I do.
Well, that's good. You have to make sure you have the right foursome for that. Well, thank you so much. This is going to be live after the show, right? On the podcast?
Yes. Our podcast this week is an interview with Dr. Elizabeth Lombard, who's a wonderful psychologist and has a book called Better Than Perfect. And she just has a lot of wisdom. And as a developmental psychologist, I really
you gather some amazing people. So
yeah,
congratulations
we do.
on that.
It's fun.
And you can watch it or listen to it every single week. You can hear more on this conversation on this week's episode of the Mom Enough podcast. And we have a link on carol11.com/Saturday.